There's a storm outside today, and it makes the perfect background for what I want to talk about. I can't make this prayer silent because it's so complex, but what I want to offer to you is to close your eyes and enter with me into an idea about how to hold up those who go into the darkest places to rescue and fight for innocence. There's nothing easy about this work. There's nothing you can really do for those who are doing the work. But there is a very powerful way to be. And that's what I mean by holding those up who are doing the work of protecting innocence. So if you close your eyes and you join with me in this idea, and having done the work myself, the best way I can describe it is to create a visual picture. It's like you get up and go to work every single day, and there's a storm brewing. It's relentless, the wind, the darkness, the rain. And your work is to go down into the dirt, to walk into a deep pit. And you're going to have all this dirt thrown on top of you. And your work is to somehow dig your way out every single day. Now, some days you're going to get lucky and you're going to find innocence in the deep, dark crevices, whether it be a child, someone who is frail, an animal. You're going to pull them up over the edge. And as you reach towards the ledge, climbing out of the pit for that day's work, you know that when you go home, you're never going to be able to wash it all off. That once you start doing this work, you can't unsee, unhear, unknow the darkness that you've entered. And the best thing that anybody can do for you, and this is the prayer, is to not ask you questions, to not ask you how you're feeling, but to stand on the edges of that deep, dark pit and hold a light, silently, with strength, purity of heart, not pushing at you, not asking from you, just standing in perfect stillness, holding a light, what makes it a little bit easier for you to climb and fight and claw your way out of that darkness, day after day after day. Unless you've really done the work of what I call protecting innocence, you can't really understand what it feels like, what the cost is, and the price that just not you, but everybody around you pays. You don't want to describe it. You don't want to talk about it. You don't want to have even people say thank you. What you want is the ability to keep going. You know, at some point it takes its toll and you have to back away. But that's really what we can do as people on the outside. The power of the prayer to hold up those who are doing this incredibly difficult, dangerous, and destructive to their own soul, the work of going into the darkest corners and pulling innocence back into the light. I cannot tell you how important this work is, and one of the reasons I'm doing this is that once, I think over 20 years ago, I remember thinking, how futile it is, trying to save the children and the elderly and the animal, and how everybody is constantly fighting against you, trying to do something as simple and as obvious as protecting an innocent child. It just never made sense. And all those who are supposed to be helping, the police, the doctors, the nurses, the child protective services, it was always just fighting the system, trying to get the most obvious solutions put into place. And I remember at some point thinking, we put all this money into training military, special forces to do, to go out and destroy Innocence. Why don't we use all that skill set to go rescue it? And that was over 20 years later is when I heard for the first time Craig Sawyer talk about doing that work, taking those skills. And it was a long time prayer answered. I can't tell you how much that meant to me as someone who has been in that darkness and worked in that darkness. And I had to leave. It took its toll and I can't go back. But I understand what it's like to be in that darkness, both as the victim and the hero. And the best thing that you can do, if you're someone who loves somebody doing the work, or if you're just somebody who wants to participate, is to just visualize standing on the edges of that pit. You can't do the work for them, but you can stand there holding a light and having your energy be contained. You're not pushing at them and you're not pulling from them. You're holding it in as an act of faith, trust, appreciation, and an acceptance that this has to be done. We have to clean out the darkest corners. Somebody has to go in and clean out the darkest corners. So that is my prayer for this Sunday, to just let go of everything and to focus on being that solid, strong, unwavering source of light, so that as the person that is in the pit moves towards the surface, they can see a little bit more clearly how that day they're going to get out. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.